What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and this is going to be more of like just a discussion video because I did see a couple of content creators for Treasure Cruise put up a couple videos today in regards to KIZUNA Clash in general, and I think it's interesting to talk about because with the latest stuff that people are really going through, and just the fact that the current, I guess, landscape of how KIZUNA Clash is kind of performed and how people tackle KIZUNA Clash has been changing over the past few months, and it's mainly due to a couple of different reasons, mainly because of the gimmicks that are applied on KIZUNA Clashes being as annoying and as difficult and as tedious as they are. People have found multiple different ways, or just one main different way, in order to tackle KIZUNA Clash to make it a more enjoyable experience, I suppose, in not only just in terms of the ease of completing KIZUNA Clash, but it also actually changes things in terms of how people are ranking against other people. As we know, every KIZUNA Clash is an alliance ranking between everyone else, and with this new function, this new method of taking on KIZUNA Clash, things are actually changing. And I think it's honestly just a really good time to discuss KIZUNA Clash in general, talk about where it's currently at as a game mode, how things can be improved, and just giving you guys the rundown as to what's going on. So first of all, let's go ahead and over to KIZUNA Clash. I'll give you a bit of a rundown as where I'm at in terms of the KIZUNA. So shout out to Jay for completing the super boss. We appreciate that. There's 22 hours left as of me recording this video right now, as you can see. My line says it's Super Boss level 26, which is not the best performance we've ever had, but it's definitely just okay, I suppose. Moving on to the 10 star, so this is what you aim to do. Your goal is to complete the 10 star difficulty because you get the most rewards for clearing it. The drop rates are better for certain items like additional tickets or special limited items, but you get more tickets and you get more Super Boss coins in a Super Boss KIZUNA Clash from the 10 star version to go ahead and then tackle the Super Boss KIZUNA, as you do need those Super Boss coins. However, what is occurring is that people are opting to just go ahead and challenge the Dex version of the content instead, or the Dex version, the 3-star difficulty version of this KIZUNA Clash. Now, a lot of people may ask, why would you want to do that? Well, there are a lot of different reasons as to why. The biggest reason is the gimmicks that are required to beat this content are significantly easier. You do see on Battle 1, every character gets cooldown. It's not limited to certain classes or certain typings. Everyone gets cooldown, so that's a huge positive. The gimmicks that you have to deal with are just so much easier. You can see that you get some slot change for the left and right side and 1 turn of defense up, whereas you go over to the 10 star version where it's like 5 turns of defense, 5 turns of resilience, like it's ridiculous. And then you move on to Battle 3, there's just really not that much you have to take into consideration. So there's the slot change, of course. The Rainbow Shield is still present, there's no interrupts, and there's no additional gimmicks that occur after level 30. So what people are actually doing is, instead of just wasting their normal KIZUNA coins to tackle the 10 star version, is that they're going ahead and tackling the 3-star version. Another thing that you do need to keep in the back of your mind is, if you do see in the bottom corner there, in order to challenge a normal 10-star difficulty version, it requires 20 KIZUNA coins. If you go over to the 3-star version, it only requires 8. So this does make a big difference, as you are spending less. But remember that you do get overall less points in KIZUNA. But there actually is a big issue to this, and the main reason why I wanted to bring this up is, as we can actually go over to a different page that I wanted to show you guys. So shout out to Stumpy Gacha. He made a video about this today with Captain Papi, kind of discussing this, and this was one of the screenshots that he kind of showed. So this is a mathematical calculation that some members in the community have been able to provide, and this shows the output of your rewards and points in the KIZUNA Clash when you do the different difficulties. So if you look at the 10-star version, which is what most people aim to do, at level 181, which is really difficult to get to, that the amount of HP, sum of total HP, so this is, I think, like the points here, the 16 million points, I think, so I think that's what you get for clearing it, or that's your cumulative points. But you do see that at 181, you're getting like this level of points, right? And at this point, you've spent this many tokens, total Super Boss coins that you've earned, of course, and then how many potions you've spent. So that's obviously quite a lot of potions to get to this point. But have a look at the 3-star version, right? At 357. Now look, that's a really high level, but remember that the boss is much easier, the gimmicks are very easy, and the HP scales way less. However, it does get to a point where the boss level HP literally just caps out at like 999 billion. But because the gimmicks are so easy, and because the characters that we have these days in Treasure Cruise are absurdly powerful, you can just build a team that literally clears. It's a one team versus all. It beats all of them with 99 billion damage. And it will just clear every single one. So if you can get to that point of like over level like 200-300 plus, you can see that because it's so easy to beat 21, almost 22 million points or billion points, and you see 181 of 10-star is at 16 billion, so there's a big discrepancy there. That the 3-star version, it's easier to clear. Yes, it does require way more time investment because you have to clear so many more levels, but it gets to a point where the 3-star version is just the best way to go. So this is what some people are opting to do, because it makes KIZUNA way easier to deal with, and because of all of the points that you're accumulating compared to people that are normally going in on that 10-star version, it means that you're going to be ranking way above everyone else that just goes to 10-star version. Now, this is not all positive. There are still downsides to this, and the main downside is the amount of super boss coins that you actually get. So you do see that total super boss coins, you get 1,800 at this point, whereas at 357, you've only earned 714. So because you're playing the easier version, the 3-star version, the rewards you get by clearing each level are reduced by a very significant margin. So by doing less super boss runs, you end up getting way higher on the solo version ranking, which can actually help out your alliance either way. But by not clearing the super boss, it just means that Super Boss KIZUNA is kind of dead. Like, there's really no reason to go ahead and clear that super boss if you can just earn absurd amounts of points just by clearing the 3-star version over and over and over again when you're past that 300 level threshold. So it's just fascinating to think that, you know, KIZUNA Clash, I feel like at this current point in time with this new method that people have kind of realized, there's like not much of a reason to do the 10-star version. But of course the thing is in order to get to those really high rankings, you have to do like over 200-300 runs for a KIZUNA Clash, which is not that fun to do, to just sit there with the same team and just beat these runs over and over and over again. And in Super Boss KIZUNA, yes, you do accumulate a lot of the super boss coins, which you can then use to clear the super boss if you want to. But it's just a really weird scenario that we find ourselves in. But like, this is the main crux of the issue, and why people or some of the other content creators were making videos on it. But that's like not the only issue with KIZUNA Clash right now. So KIZUNA Clash for the longest time, like I'm talking maybe 2-3 years ago, I would think that KIZUNA Clash was the best game mode. I loved it. Most people in the community did love it. However, with recent updates to Treasure Map, and the rewards for Treasure Map have always been actually pretty good, it feels like Treasure Map is kind of just like almost like one of the best modes in the game. While a lot of people do have issues with it, I still have issues with it myself. The reward output that you get by playing that game mode, it's so valuable that I actually kind of enjoy Treasure Map in some aspects. But when you look at KIZUNA Clash in that same perspective, the rewards just don't compare really. Like, the amount of rewards you get for clearing, you know, you go to box 7, and if we just have a look at the rewards of box 7, well, yes, some of the rewards here are nice to get for sure. Like, all of these generic tablets are really good, but if you're an endgame player like myself, who's been playing for years, right, these tablets, getting heaps of these every KIZUNA, it doesn't really help that much. It's kind of annoying that we don't get some really good tablets, you know? I mean, we do have the addition of the Fear, the Hunger tablets, but there's only one of them per 2,000 in the box 7, which is just ridiculous, by the way. But the other thing is we don't get limit break materials for doing this, and limit breaking is one of the most important mechanics in the game. Not only just for making characters actually usable, but with the introduction of limit break expansions, and you have these level limit breaks coming out, and if you have a character with level limit break, but then they have like expansions that make them even better, you want to go down that route, and to even get more damage on KIZUNAs, for example, it's pretty important for them to actually do that. So, you know, the reward system for sure needs a bit of updating. It's just terrible. It just feels like you don't get a lot for the amount of effort that you are spending in KIZUNA Clash. And just to kind of pivot in this same little talking point here is the KIZUNA shop itself. Now, I know that a lot of people in the community, like newer players, returning players, have always talked about this. This is one of the major issues with KIZUNA right now, is that it is very difficult for newer players to catch up and pick up all of the required skulls, characters from the KIZUNA exchange to actually use in content. Like, the amount of KIZUNA insignia that you receive from the KIZUNA shop, from the KIZUNA exchange, from the whatever it is, from using tickets to get KIZUNA insignia, you just don't get enough of it. It's a big issue. Now, one thing that they could do to fix it, for sure, is put KIZUNA insignia in box 7, because I'm pretty sure KIZUNA insignia are not in box 7, which I get in some aspects, but at the same time, like, it's a little ridiculous, because it means the amount of KIZUNA insignia that you can get per KIZUNA is finite. So that really does suck. Whereas if you're able to get some from box 7, that's going to give people a big incentive to go hard on KIZUNA Clash, get a bunch of tickets to actually go in on box 7. So I think that would actually be a pretty big change. If you put the KIZUNA insignia in box 7, that's already a massive positive push to help players catch up, to actually pick up all of these Super Evolution skulls or characters so that they can actually progress their account. But honestly, I do think one of the big things about KIZUNA is that the fun aspect of Super Boss KIZUNA has really been lost. And, like, we go back to, I think it was the start of last year, whenever we had the KIZUNA Clash where the boss was Doflamingo, 6+ Sugar just debuted. That KIZUNA Clash was one of the most fun KIZUNAs because the amount of gimmicks on that super boss were minimal. There were hardly anything, right? It was like you were looking at the gimmicks almost for this KIZUNA, for the 3-star KIZUNA. Like, the gimmicks were basically nothing, which meant that you could build a team that was purely focused on damage, and that was the most fun, where you could just build an Unga Bunga team, have very minimal gimmicks that you could probably get around with a couple of support characters, and then just do as much damage as you possibly can. Having that aspect was so much more fun in a KIZUNA Clash, whereas you have this one right here, and just the amount of absurd gimmicks here is just ridiculous. Like, Battle 2 is like a whole other boss now, where you have like just absurd gimmicks that just don't make any sense. It means you have to use a lot of specials, or I say a lot of specials, but you have to use a lot of your key effects on like the mini boss stage before you actually get to the boss stage now. And then you got like Battle 3 again, there's just lots of just absurd gimmicks that they kind of tailor these super bosses to the latest new batch that's out, which I understand why they do that, but adding so many different hurdles to jump over just to make it so that if you don't use this one new character, then it's gonna suck for you. I just kind of don't like that. And yes, I know that the people have probably already created teams without the new batches, and I completely understand that, but it's just kind of dumb. The amount of gimmicks that are on here are really bad because it restricts how good your teams can really be. And when we go from a Super Boss KIZUNA where you could reach 500 billion, and then you now limit that same kind of team build variety to go down to like 50 billion, 100 billion, that huge jump in damage really hurts, and it just feels like you're kind of going backwards and you're kind of like not even progressing forward, and it just feels really bad. It doesn't feel good. And of course, we've already talked about it at this point, but the 3-star difficulty stuff, meaning that Super Boss is kind of redundant for those types of players that are opting to go down that route. Yeah, so things need to change, and I know that I'm not the only person echoing this sentiment, but let me know your thoughts and opinions about KIZUNA Clash down below in the comment section. I'll also leave links to the videos from Stumpty Gacha with Captain Papi, as well as the Snowman, the Japanese content creators video, talking about KIZUNA Clash, so make sure to go ahead and check out those videos. Hope you enjoyed this one though, and if you guys did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.